don't tell you anything here, and we don't teach you. All we do is point toward and ask you to look to where we're pointing to see or recognise what is being pointed to, your true nature. What we talk about is not anything new. You'll see it in all the ancient traditions. In Advaita, for instance, they call it non-duality, by calling it one without a second. Even one implies that the idea of one, that there could be other than one. So to point out that there is nothing other than that, they say it's without a second, one without a second. You'll see the same thing in Buddhism, where they say it's non-conceptual, ever-fresh presence awareness. And add on to that just this, nothing else. Christianity and other traditions talking about truth, reality, we'll call it omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. Not three things they're talking about, but three aspects of the one. Omnipresence means total presence. Omnipotence, total power. And omniscience, total intelligence. So in all those traditions, what they're pointing out is that there is absolutely no duality whatsoever in non-duality. We've got this idea, we've got to come to understand or see or reach or acquire non-duality. But you recognise, what we point to, it's always and ever been the case. It is a non-dual manifestation. Awakened mind, non-conceptual mind, pure mind, unborn mind, or awareness, and lots of different labels they put on it, all pointing to the one thing. Space-like awareness, you can't grasp that space. Recognise that space is already there. But can you pinpoint that space? Can you say it starts here or starts there, or it's high or low, far or near? Space has no static point anywhere. So you can't say it is, or you can't say it is not. You can't grasp it with any concept. Now they call it space-like awareness. That awareness, is anybody unaware right now? And you reckon, no, I'm not unaware. So if you're not unaware, what must you be? Mustn't you be aware? Now where does that awareness take place? Isn't it taking place in that space? Can you separate the two? You realise you can't separate the two. Now, all this manifestation is appearing in that space. Can you postulate or think of anything that can be outside of space? What would it be in? And when they call it, the Buddha called it a cognising emptiness, an emptiness suffused with knowing or cognising. And he made the statement that emptiness is form, pointing out that all this manifestation, which is the content of that emptiness, the forms and patterns that appear in it, is nothing but the form. Because that's what he said when he turned it the other way. He said the form can be nothing other than the emptiness. Pointing out again that it's the one essence appearing and expressing as everything. So that's why we say start from the fact, whether you know it or not, that you are already that. That is all there is. Now all this manifestation, we said, is the content of that space. It's formed, pattern-shaped and formed in space, and doesn't it disappear back into space? If this Earth were to blow up right now, into millions of subatomic particles and disappear into pure energy, would any of it be outside of space? Where did it come from? Didn't it come from space? Those two cells that formed it, the sperm in your father, a microscopic particle, and the ovum in your mother, an egg, another microscopic particle. When those two came together, that innate intelligence in those two particles knew what to do, because the blueprint which was in those two formed what you are today. You are the same vibrating pattern of that intelligence energy within those two particles. And when that pattern breaks down, where are you going to go to? This body dissolves. Where's the dissolve back? Doesn't it go back into that space-like awareness? So you realise that all this manifestation, like the ancients told us, is Maya. It's illusion. It really has no substance or any independent nature. There's nothing that can stand on its own. And you are a patterning, shaping, informing, spontaneous intelligence energy, which I call intelligence energy, is expressing as that pattern. And each pattern is a unique expression. But we've lost sight of the fact that we are that. And that's the Mahavakya, the great word that was pointed out years ago. And I am that, thou art that, this is that. The base is that, or the substratum, if you like, is that. And we know that in our language, because that's the chair, that's the carpet, that's the house, that's the sky, that's you, that's me, that's everything. For that which can't be grasped or conceptualised, we add labels to that and make it appear or seem different. But the labels and words we've learnt are things that we've learnt or acquired along the way. You realise that every thought you've ever thought, or every word you've ever spoken, every word you've ever spoken has been acquired or learnt. You look at a little child when it's born, what words has it got then? Has it got any words? It's functioning naturally and spontaneously. And we learn these words and acquire these words. And the sad thing is we take the word to be the real. Other ways of discriminating, describing something, we take the word to be the thing. But is the word ever the thing? Take the word water. Can you drink the word? Can you wash yourself in the word? Can you drown in it or swim in it? You can't. The word fire, does it burn your mouth? The same with that. Can you heat yourself with it? Or cook with it? So what do you think this word I or me is? When the little child has got no words, is there any such thing as I or me for that little child? Until it learns the words and then it starts to discriminate. And he's told by his parents, you're little Johnny, you're a good boy, this, that, and then he says, I am little Johnny, I am this, I am that. But concepts or ideas based on experiences and conditioning are added onto that I thought, and we form this mental picture, this conceptual image of what we think we are. And the energy of belief going in that without question, and we have separated ourselves from the inseparable, or seemingly separated ourselves from the inseparable. We take on the idea that we are separate entities, individuals, persons. But where does this word person come from? That's a word we've picked up along the way. And the ancient came from some ancient language. And does it mean persona, the mask? Pointing out we've got this mask of identity on ourselves, this conceptual image, we form a mental image, a mask, and what we take we are. And everything becomes relative to that image. Never questioning it, never having a look and seeing that's all. Yet the Sagadatta told you when he said, don't pretend to be what you're not. And don't refuse to be what you are. We're pretending to be this separate entity, continually pretending, and everything becomes relative to this image. And we never were, never could be, but the belief going into it makes us seemingly real, and we believe that we are that image. And we are refusing to be what we're not. What you are is no thing, that space-like emptiness, that pure intelligence. Nobody wants to be no thing. So we continue to believe in this mark and try to alter it, modify it and correct it, make it whole, complete or real. But a mental image, a concept, how are you ever going to do that? How can it ever happen? It can't, it won't, and it never will. What is this body? You think we are this body, mind, entity. What is this body? You realise this body can be broken down into elements. It's made up of air, earth, fire, water, space, just the same as the elements around you. If you think you're separate from those elements, well, try and be separate. Take the water out of your body, which is an element. See how long it lasts. It's 80% water. Take the air out of it. Take the matter out of it. Try and get out of space. Try and get off the earth. Take the fire out of the body temperature. You realise you can't separate yourself from these elements. These elements are patterning, shaping, forming that body. They're made up of elements. And all those elements can be broken down to subatomic particles into pure energy. The same with this thing called mind. We call ourselves this body-mind entity. Show me your mind if you believe you are the mind. Can anybody show me a thing called mind? Is there any static point you can say, and this is mind? You realise you've got this concept or idea of mind and take it to be real, my mind. Take it to be real, but what is it? What are you taking to be real? Isn't it a word? A concept? What is mind after all? And you really look at it and you realise and recognise that mind is nothing other than thought. Thinking is happening, and thinking is what we call mind, because it forms words, concepts, ideas, images. And you know you are not the mind because you say, my mind. Just the same as you say, my body, my house, my car. Are you the house? Are you the car? Are you the body? Are you the mind? You realise there's some thing or no thing there, there's something prior to the mind. The knowingness, the awareness, the sense of presence, where the Buddha said it's non-conceptual, ever fresh presence awareness. There's nobody who is not aware of being present right now. That presence awareness is right with you. But there might be all sorts of concepts going on and beliefs. And they couldn't take place outside of that presence awareness. Does my eye tell me I see? You look at it and realise, no. My eye is not saying to me, look at this, Bob, or look at that, or that's good, or that's bad, that's far, that's near. My eye doesn't say anything. But it's the instrument through which the seeing is happening. And you've got to realise it's translated by the thought, I see. But you've got to realise that now, that thought, I see, is not just to be a translation. What we've added to that thought, we've added to that thought events, experience, conditions. I believe it's me, Bob, the Australian, the good fellow, or whatever conceptual image I've got about myself. We now think that is doing the seeing. This conceptual image, we think it has the capacity of seeing. The same with the hearing. Eye's not saying listen to, the ear's not saying listen to this or listen to that. That's the instruments through which the hearing is happening. And it's translated by the thought, I hear. And again it's translated by that thought, not the pure translation, but we've got this image attached to that translation. Me, Bob, the Australian, and all the conceptual image that's constantly changing. So we now think this image, or this conceptual image, this ego, which is the reference point of the self-centre, now thinks it has the capacity of seeing and hearing. But ask yourself this, can the thought, I see, actually see? Do that, shut your eyes, look around the room and see what you can actually see with the thought. If you believe the thought's doing the seeing, Shut your eyes and see what you can see with a thought. Do it and see. Get the exact experience. If you don't want to do it, don't. Then don't walk away and understand why you couldn't grasp what was being said here. Same with your ears. Put your hands over your ears and see what you can hear with the thought. The thought I see can't see. The thought I hear can't hear. Can the thought I am awareness be that awareness, be that essence of beingness? Can the thought I choose be the choice maker? Recognise that and you realise this thought up entity that you believe yourself to be, that you believe so wonderful, so great, so hurtful, so fearful, can't do a damn thing. Not one thing can a thought do. So you're recognising that the thought has no substance, no independent nature. It cannot stand on its own. Now we've got this body. This body, the hearing, the seeing, the tasting, touching, smelling, all these activities are taking place through this pattern, shape and form you call the body. So the body is the expression that innate intelligence expresses through. Now to take the life essence of that innate intelligence out of this body and it becomes a corpse, how many thoughts does a corpse have? How many sights can a corpse see? How aware can a corpse be? What choices can a corpse make? You realise without that life essence, that body is useless. It can't do a thing, just the same as your computer got all that information in it. Take the power off, what can the computer do without that power? You must be the life essence itself. So give credit where credit is due. It's that same life essence that's patterning, shaping and forming this universe, is living, patterning, shaping and forming, expressing you as you. A unique pattern, shape and form and expression. And recognise that. Recognise how it formed you from two microscopic particles into a little child, into a young man or woman, reached puberty, grew up and living this to where you are today. And all the things that have happened and expressed and patterned through it, none of it's been done by you that believed in anything that you might think you have. So you are a unique expression, pattern, shape and form that. And none of it's taken place without that life essence. And you are that life essence which is manifesting and expressing as all this cosmos, if you like, the whole lot. Nothing but a vibrating pattern of intelligence energy. Everything can be broken down into that one essence. So it's that one essence that's appearing and expressing as everything. So recognise that and realise you're being lived. You don't have any living to do. You're being lived. Learn to recognise your true nature and relax into that true nature. Recognise it whenever and as often as you can until you understand it's always and ever been so.